Iran didn't just challenge an aircraft, it challenged a system. Because modern air power is not one jet. It is a chain: sensors, decisions, fuel, timing, and coordination. And here's the trap. If Iran turns on radars to see the threat, those radars can be found and targeted. If it keeps them off, it stays blind. On the other side, stealth is not magic. It is a budget. Every mission step spends that budget, especially under time pressure. So the real question is not who has the best plane. It is which side's decision loop breaks first, and what happens when underground targets make destroyed impossible to prove. Now let's break down how that system works step by step. Most people think modern air conflict is a contest of aircraft, fast versus fast, stealth versus radar, but the real contest is a loop. A loop has 3 steps. First, notice something. Second, decide what it is and what to do. Third, act before it changes. If one side runs that loop faster and more accurately, it can win even without perfect weapons. Now add a problem. Not all seeing works the same way. Some sensors are active. They send out energy like radar and listen for a return. That can be powerful, but it has a cost. When you transmit, you can be detected too. Other sensors are passive. They do not transmit. They listen or they look for heat. That can reduce the advantage of radar stealth because heat does not care about shape in the same way. So both sides face uncertainty. The defender asks, do we turn systems on to see more and risk becoming a target, or do we stay quiet and risk being surprised? The attacker asks, how do we stay hard to detect while still doing the actions the mission requires? Because every mission has moments where exposure rises. This is why air conflict is not one clean event. It is a chain of small decisions under time pressure. And time pressure does something brutal. It forces trade-offs. Trade-offs create gaps. And gaps are where accidents and losses happen. So the key question is not, which jet is better? The key question is, which side keeps its loop working when everything becomes confusing, fast, and expensive? That is where the real advantage lives. A defender protecting its airspace has a simple goal: find the threat early, track it clearly, stop it in time. But in modern air warfare, that goal creates a trap. Most strong air defenses need active radar to work well. Radar gives range and direction. It helps guide missiles and fighters. The problem is that radar is also a lighthouse. When it turns on, it announces, I am here. That signal can be detected, identified, and targeted, so the defender is stuck between 2 bad choices. If they stay dark, they might not see the threat until it is too late. They protect their radars but lose awareness. If they turn on, they see more, but they risk losing the very system that helps them see. They gain information, but they also become easier to attack. This is why defenders try to mix different tools. They use fighters to hunt. They use passive sensors to listen and watch without transmitting. They use short radar bursts to reduce exposure. They also use the environment. Mountains and valleys can block sensors. Low flight paths can hide aircraft from some radar angles. The terrain becomes part of the defense plan. But terrain also creates confusion. Targets can appear and disappear. Tracks can break. Operators can misread what they are seeing. And that is the next problem. Air defense is not only technology. It is people and procedures. Operators must classify targets quickly. Commanders must authorize actions. Different units must share the same picture. If those links are slow, the defender's loop breaks. A fast decision becomes a delayed decision. A clear track becomes a guess. So the defender's best move is rarely perfect. It is usually a risk choice made under pressure. And the paradox remains, to see more, you often have to expose yourself more. That is why strong defenses sometimes fail, not because they are weak, but because their safest option is also their blindest option. People talk about stealth like it is magic, as if a stealth aircraft is either invisible or not. In reality, stealth is more like a budget. You start the mission with a low chance of being detected. Then you spend that advantage when the mission forces certain actions. Some actions increase risk, not because the aircraft is bad, but because physics and systems do not care about marketing. Anytime you change what you are doing, speed, altitude, direction, you change patterns that sensors can catch. Anytime you rely on support aircraft, you create more signals in the area. And anytime the mission requires a moment of higher exposure, you accept a window of danger. Now add the constraint stack. Long-range operations require logistics, fuel planning, aerial refueling, maintenance, spare parts, crew endurance. These are not side details, they shape what is possible. If tankers are limited, you cannot keep aircraft in the air forever. If maintenance cycles are tight, you cannot generate the same force night after night. If the weather is bad, the best plan can become a risky plan. Then there is timing. Modern missions are built on coordination. Different aircraft are separated by altitude, time, and location to avoid conflicts. But if something unexpected happens, time compresses quickly. When time compresses, decision quality drops, people rush, mistakes become more likely, and rushed changes can create new exposure. This is why attackers aim for control of the timeline, control of the information picture, control of the number of problems happening at once. Because even a highly advanced aircraft cannot out-tech a situation where the mission becomes chaotic. So the attacker's real challenge is not only getting in unseen, it is completing the mission while the stealth budget is being spent, the clock is tightening, and the margin for error is shrinking. Underground sites change the meaning of success. A normal target is simple: you hit it, it burns, you can see it is gone. An underground target is different. It is designed to survive impact, heat, and shock. It may have multiple entrances, it may have backup tunnels, it may have hidden storage areas, so the goal often shifts. Instead of destroy the facility, the realistic goal becomes deny access. Deny access means blocking entrances, collapsing key points, breaking internal movement, forcing crews to stop work and dig out, delaying operations long enough for follow-up pressure. That is a different kind of victory, less dramatic, but sometimes more important. Now comes the hardest part: verification. How do you know the site is neutralized? Smoke outside does not prove the inside is finished. A collapsed entrance does not prove there is no second path. And even if activity stops today, it might restart weeks later. So both sides play a messaging game. The attacker wants to claim success quickly. The defender wants to claim resilience quickly. But the truth is often in the middle: damage, disruption, and delay mixed with uncertainty. There is also a counterargument worth taking seriously. Underground systems can be built with recovery in mind. They can store equipment deeper, they can rotate operations, they can repair faster than outsiders assume, and they can use decoy entrances to absorb strikes. So the real question is not, can you hit it? The real question is, can you keep it suppressed over time? Because for underground targets, a single strike is rarely the end of the story. It is usually the start of a longer contest. A contest between repair and pressure, concealment and surveillance, adaptation and counter-adaptation. That is why underground warfare is not just engineering. It is a campaign problem. The first major strike is not the finish line, it is the first lesson. After night one, both sides start adapting. The defender changes how it survives. It may reduce radar use. It may shift to passive listening. It may move key equipment more often. It may disperse assets into smaller groups. It may build more decoys to waste attacks. It also changes behavior. Commanders tighten rules. Operators become more cautious. Fighters may use different patrol patterns. Air defense units may relocate to avoid being targeted. Meanwhile, the attacker adapts too. It updates target lists based on what worked and what did not. It improves the timing and routing of support aircraft. It adjusts the balance between speed and caution. It tries to reduce coordination friction inside its own side. Then the war becomes about a deeper factor: sustainability. High-end air operations are expensive, not only in money but in maintenance hours, parts, and fatigue. The question becomes, can you repeat this again tomorrow and the day after that? This is where cost exchange matters. If the attacker spends rare, expensive assets to create small, temporary effects, the campaign loses momentum. If the defender can absorb damage, repair, and continue, deterrence shifts. But if the attacker can keep pressure steady while staying within political limits, then the defender's system can start to crack, not from one dramatic moment, but from accumulated strain. Finally, there is escalation risk. Every side must control how far the conflict expands. Even perfect military success can become strategic failure if it triggers wider war, larger retaliation, or loss of allies. So the long-run advantage belongs to the side that adapts faster, verifies results better, and can afford to keep going without losing control of the escalation ladder. That is what modern air conflict is really about: a war of systems, learning, and endurance.